Testing. Why is there an echo on this? Well, hopefully it goes away with the music. Or I could just turn down the volume a lot. Good morning, everybody. It's time to write. Good morning. Good morning, good morning. We are here to do some writing, also probably to do a little bit of repair work. I wasn't intending to do repair work this morning, but I seem to have a machine, as can be shown and evidenced by the way the letters look on this page, which has offset stops, is what we would call it, or footing. LJ Gibbons says, "Can't hurt, boat crew true." Indeed, indeed. We are here. We are streaming. Despite the busyness, LJ is our local little poetry lark, and he is here and will be able to read some of his poetry in a little while once I get this machine repaired. Good morning, Gamaro. I hope you have been doing well. Easier to say is in the house. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Poetry Studio. In order to poet properly, we need to perfect our punctuating machine with mindful repairing. I'm trying to alliterate here. I hope everybody stays in good. I had a writing group yesterday. It was very nice, except for one little fact. I didn't submit anything. Why didn't I submit anything, you ask? Well, because I haven't been really doing a lot of editing writing. Like, I just didn't feel comfortable with my with the stuff that I had been working on. Oh, there we go. you guys can't actually see this, so angle the camera a little better so you can see my work. There we go. How has life without Maz been for the two of you? I know for me, I miss seeing the regular live streams, having them kind of present in my life, but this has been a good opportunity for me to be able to continue to work on myself and make that better. So this is obviously not a repairing stream by any means. I'm staring up at the screw. Left is this one. I need to just figure out which direction is unloosening. There we go. I think that's what we needed. Oh! Maybe if I do this instead. More time to work on self. Indeed, indeed. That is the feeling. That is the feeling. So those that are just tuning in, I am playing with wrenches, trying to adjust the footing of this machine, which is not cooperating in terms of that. I hope these are the right pieces for the footing. Actually, here's a great way I can tell whether what I'm doing is, I'm pointing out, yeah, that's the right size right there, but why is it flexing then? Because it's just a little too big. I'll be right back because I think I have another set of wrenches. The hiatus has not had any impact on my life, thankfully, says LJ Gibbons. And easier to say, echoing the true motto of Maz in general, says, good. More time to work on self. And that has been more of what I've been feeling. Good. I may have to buy another set of these micro wrenches because the set I have might not be the right sizing for this. Leave it to the metric sizing in these typewriters. Sometimes you just need the right tools. Ugh. And what this indicates is what I need to be doing is in the interims of the streams, I need to be repairing machines so that I can test them on the streams, not actually repair them on the streams. And now the part I was using just got lost in the typewriter. Well, that shouldn't affect mechanics, but I have to remember that. Let's write some poetry. I was going to try to do some more work on the forest poetry I have, but I am not feeling it. Let me adjust my camera now that I have finished attempting to repair this. There we go. So what is the feeling for you guys this morning? Because I'm looking for me, I guess the only thing that I feel like I could write about this morning is as I try to improve upon and develop my poetry to be more concrete is going to be the word I'm going to use. It's very easy for me to get very joyfully, but also a little redundantly lost in ethereal language. I love writing about the world and the soul, using that lofty language to inspire people to their best potential, their best selves, thinking about those types of things. I mean, after all, there's something that stirs the heart when, for example, Graham Hancock talks about the immortality of the soul. But I like talking about that stuff, but I also need to get more concrete with my writing, to dig deeper into the details, to be able to take a paperclip example. Maybe to that end, if you guys want to suggest potential objects, things that I could write a poem about that try to steer away from the lofty, to be able to kind of find meaningfulness in the hard stuff of it all, I'd love to give that a shot. Easier to say, says Zen of typewriter repair. Yeah, Zen is not necessarily the word I would use to describe typewriter repair, especially when you have a wrench that literally falls inside of the typewriter that you have to recover later on. It is Zen though. Honestly, I do like it, but I have to make the concrete decision, the choice, to be able to set aside time and then actually use that time properly. So that is a mission of mine, is to do that. Akira. Well, what I might do is, as a launching point, I might dig up a random word or two from my Poet Assistant app. This app is a fantastic app. Where is it? Show it. Nope, it's not showing up. Rebuild it all with worn out tools. Yeah, that's, believe it or not, a lot of typewriter tools that actually make up like real specific stuff that would clean the teeth inside here, stuff that would remove keycaps. Those tools are all only available on the used market. So, believe it or not, that's the way of things. Man, easier to say, is on fire today. Yeah, we will read that later on. Some of LJ's poetry. If I go to a random word, westernmost is what Poet Assistant gave me. So I can look up a random word, and then I lost it. But now I have a new random word, which is petulantly, which is in a petulant manner. Petulant means easily irritated or annoyed. My dog is very petulant right now. My dog is petulant because there must be some sort of pain that he has. We think he might have sprained something. So he's very yippy and very this is over the past like 12 hours. He's cried out at us whenever we get too close to him. So we will be taking him to the vet today. Our stream is late. Westernly petulant. The challenge of fixing your instrument. The instrument's broken misfunction can be definite. I think repair is an interesting theme that I want to rest on, because the trying to reach the frontier of that repair, westernmost, the irritation that comes with the repair, petulance, and then kind of what the chat, and easier to say, has been kind of dwelling on, which are all very good things. So let's write a poem about repair, And this is part of the practice for me on this one, is going to be making sure that it is more in the weeds than my other one. Let me know if my voice is not coming through clearly, because I know I was having some sort of echo issue with the microphones. LJ says very aptly, what's the difference between broken and damaged? Well, you got the poem in itself. Thank you very much, Easier to Say. I appreciate that. Says I have a wonderful voice. Kind, honest, a little nerdy. You sound like a creative, smart guy who wears glasses. Well, the only reason why I've been wearing glasses a lot more often is because I ran out of contacts, and I plan on getting more contacts. So that won't be the case. But do you think, so Easier, do you think that the glasses are becoming of the typewriter poet persona? That is a key question. I have to. I'm still thinking about the broken and damaged thing. I have to say I don't have an answer at the moment, but I could muse about it poetically. I think that's the best way to deal with anything. And it's kind of like what I've been thinking about is so we were reading a poem last night in the group, and someone wrote a line about it was an amazing line, and it's something to do with consuming the molecules of the world. And I was like, I love that line. You know, I love the fact of talking about the world, trying to do that all-embracing thing. And what one of the other people said is that they said, you got to earn that line. You got to earn that word. Like, if you're going to talk about the world, you have to have led up to it very strongly. And I tend to invert that in my poetry and use the world as a strong thing that I can then just build around. Like, oh, I'm going to talk about the world today. I'm going to talk about heaven today, you know? But that is kind of not the way it should be. And I'm not going to be highly self-critical of my work, but it's more that I really do want to come at the thing in a genuine aspect. So that's why I'm trying this reversal of perspective. Hey, maybe by the end of this poem I could say something about the human condition, but instead I don't want to say something about the human condition to start, because if I'm creating with the human condition as the bedrock, well, then I haven't talked about the human condition. I've just referred to the whole. I've just simply. It's almost like I've been circular, because I've just simply referred to what people think is the human condition, which is simply wonderment. And it's kind of a. I don't want it to be a party trick, but it's all still good poetry. It's just maybe I could improve on it by changing perspective. Easier to say seems to have an answer for the damaged versus broken thing. Damage seems to imply an external event, a battle or a storm. Broken seems to be used or worn sometimes. Well, you could break something, like I think of a broken bottle that then is turned into a weapon. So like somebody will smash in a bar fight, somebody will smash a bottle against the counter and suddenly they now have a very sharp object. That was broken externally. That's why I'm still thinking about it, because I did think of that. I thought of that it seems damaged is it something that happens to something, but broken seems to be something that it happens to itself. Maybe that's the tendency, but I'm still a little skeptical. I think, though, easier to say is aiming at something right, because you're right. When we actually use our language, we could say that it broke, but we don't say it got damaged. But when I say it got damaged, I do say that I think of something hitting it, as opposed to it, stopped on the side of the highway. Elder Gibbons says, my friend was self-conscious about his thinning hair until I told him when people look at you, they don't see balding Chris, they just see Chris. That's good. We don't break our arm or leg, we just damaged it. I think that there's also the point of language is sometimes just certain words belong better in certain situations. I can't imagine talking about a damaged arm or leg. For a human, I think the other body parts are simply broken. It's simply broken. Goodness, I'm yawning a lot. And it shows an empathy to the thing to talk about it being broken. Broken implies fixing. Damaged implies repairing. Repairing seems more distant than fixing. Which brings us back to this. Like you go to a car shop to get it repaired, not to be fixed. If you're just joining us, we're theorizing about the difference between broken and damaged. LJ loves that etymology and dual meaning words. Absolutely. The English language is a very messy, beautiful little thing. Oh my goodness. I recently was on scrolling through Facebook, which is something I don't do often. And I remember I followed this Wittgenstein memes page. So Ludwig Wittgenstein was a philosopher that philosophized on the meaning of words and how words are essentially the building blocks of everything, because you can't make meaning without words. Fool Killer in the house, good morning. So what's funny is the memes on the page are simply full of times when a word could be misused or a language breaks down, and it's kind of just poking fun the whole time at like, oh goodness, like like this one here. I'm gonna throw it in the chat where it's this is the most famous one, I think. So the difference between let's eat grandma and let's eat grandma is literally the softest space, the softest pause, and a tiny marker after the bottom of the letter T. One implies a gathering of family around a dinner table, and the other implies cannibalism. Welcome to the English language. But like, that is, I mean, like, you might go, oh, that's a really interesting example. There's not much of stuff like that though, but no, that stuff's everywhere. I'm just having trouble thinking of it right now. There are magical ways in which we manage to conclude with the quickest twist of the mind what we know what someone's saying. Even though there's no real written rule for it. Like you know that I'm not talking about cannibalism when I say let's eat grandma. But somehow our language works that way. Oh, there we go. That's a word, banned word. Another thing they talked about in the writers group was letting language lead you versus leading the language, and I definitely fall victim to that. I often will go take a poem in a certain direction because I like the sound of a word, which makes me, I feel like that I am at the fulcrum between the written, creative, patient word, you know, the edited poem, and freestyle. And I'm starting to lean towards freestyle because it's like I'm writing freestyles. taking my time with this one. And part of the reason why it's taking a long time is because this is not as much of a natural position for me, pushing on the edges of my typical writing. Always related it back to the self. Or like the identity of a human. Perfectly fine. This is a good piece of work. Alrighty. Let's read. We're not going to just read this poem. We're also going to dig into at least one of L.J. Gibbons's pieces of work here. I have all his poems from email printed and scattered on the desk, and I want to find one which is appropriate for the moment, especially since we have been digging into the philosophy of language here on the mini stream. I think I actually titled this stream Machine Repair. I've been giving the streams titles mainly because I keep forgetting to put numbers on them, which I should do that. Let me read this one real quickly. Ooh, I love this one. Oh, this one's good. We're going to read this one. So, I am going to pick my poem first, and then we are going to read LJ's poem, and then we will see if there is anything else which we can entertain ourselves with today. But thank you all so much for being here so far. The title of this poem is Fix It. I see, for the first time, the mangled, misplaced parts for what they are. Tools in themselves ready to place, to make better the frame where they set. Bits and bolts together in anonymous concert to tune the turnings of gears and springs. I wonder at the thoughts of the nut as it sits stuck, afraid to let go of the rusted solid position. The scuffed piston screaming for relief as metal upon metal scratches. Are these utterances and stubborn stances personality? My machine driving to identity in rebellious tenacity? Or is it pining, nervously reminding the human how, if not you, then who can make me whole again? I'm happy with this. I think that I need to take, I need to develop, and maybe this is something that the whole collective of Twitch and Maz over time can slowly help me with, is we can, build out what I would call at least a use sparingly list of words. Because throughout this poem, I was tempted to go into, oh, and this is what the world means, and oh, this is what, poetry means, and oh, this is what forever means. And I instead bound myself to mostly concrete language, and then decided to bring in personality as the answer. Like, is this the personality of the machine? I don't write about personality a lot. Oftentimes I'm writing about character, because I'm just going for, I'm going for the jugular when it comes to the meaning. It's like, yeah, like this is the most meaningful thing I can write about. But meaning is not like that. Meaning can be, well, first of all, it's fun with words. So there's joy and there's happiness, and just having, oh, the last line was good on this one. If not you, then who can make me whole again? That rhyme scheme, that was just, I had fun with that. And then the meaningfulness is more that we get to kind of see the details of the thing, like why do painters paint studies? They paint fruit because it's delightful to look at fruit, and that's meaningful. Easier to say says a nut in a piston. Indeed, those are true. And there is a actual memory of a scuffed piston. My dad did a rebuild on a motor engine, and he thought about the piston. And LJ says, sweet, I thought it was at times comical. Felt like I was inside the typewriter, then back in your mind again. There we go. That's a travel that a poem should take. Thank you so much for the feedback here. Well, LJ, if you're going to be so kind as to compliment my words, let me compliment yours with a short reading. You sent this to me on February 12th. These are some verses from L.J. Gibbons, a.k.a. the Poetry Lark. Donate privately. How about double down on kind? Most will chuckle at this point, the notion wanes. Don't let man eyes see, lest you'll have them acting blind. Pamphlet zombies will anoint and preach their lanes. Generosity traded in for charity all too often, shining brightly down that slope. It's why they're where they be, white knuckle death grip in the middle of two ends of a burning rope. Sheer audacity, Stockholm mental incapacity. If living lost were empty boots, you'd still find them trudging hay with clay, wandering aimlessly in droves, little veracity, footprints leading the marching souls. Off by heart they know the way. Man, I'll tell you, your alliterations and rhymes in that are so cool. So cool. That is our own LJ Gibbons, who's in the chat right now. Untitled or Moon Pie, I think he wrote as a title. I like donate privately. How about double down on kind as a rush? He says, oh yeah, I forgot about that one. Casually forgetting his verse. No, what I did is LJ, every time you sent me an email, I read it and then I printed it out and I tucked it on my desk in a spot because I knew that eventually I would end up reading them. So they provide but delight. And as always, if you want to submit something or you're kind of interested in having your piece talked about on the stream, feel free to email me at my email, which I'll throw into the chat right now. I hope everybody has had a good time today. We're going to wrap up at this point. I wanted to do a shout out to everybody. You're a friend at walkingwithpoem.com. There we go. That's my email. I want to give a shout out to everybody that was in the chat. And yes, LJ Gibbons is also on YouTube. Shout out to him on YouTube. Let me get that link up. I'm gonna go on my other computer to do this. Where is? Okay, hold on a second. All right, there we go. Subscriptions. Yeah, it's Luke Ford on YouTube. So definitely check out Luke Ford on YouTube for LJ Gibbons's awesome songs. I've seen a few. I gotta dig in a little deeper, but it is really cool. So we are going to close out the stream here. The plan is eventually, so one of the other members of the Mazverse 2076 has started what do you call it? Goodness gracious, my mind's not breaking. It started a mindful meditation stream. Good stuff. He actually, I talked to him over the phone yesterday, and he helped do a very short mindful meditation over the phone. I tell you, it's going to be helpful for me. So check out his channel, which is Mindful Before Meeting. And it is good to see Sidratej, as aka Easier to Say, LJ Gibbons, aka Luke Ford, aka the Poetry Lark, Fool Killer in the house. Thank you all for being here. Can't hurt but go true. Have a wonderful day, and hope it is poetic. And obviously our lurkers, mindfulness before meeting. That's his good flow. Yeah, I keep looking up mindfulness before meeting, and it's mindful before meeting is the actual name of the channel. So it is at mindful before meaning. As with as with any good new project, he's jumped into it and will be incrementally improving along the way. I mean, hey, I started this on my kitchen table with just like one. Oh my goodness, my setup was so janky in the beginning. It was terrible, but it's great now, and it's been really good. Thank you so much, everybody, and we will be back tomorrow morning.